Okay, so I should probably put a disclaimer here that I'm not making this video in an attempt to defend or attack digibro as a person. Like, I do sympathize with him a little bit. It does seem like people have collectively failed to understand that it's possible to hold a genuine opinion while exaggerating your reaction to something to an obviously absurd degree as a sort of half-joke, but in general I have no existing inclinations toward or against him. I honestly know very little about him. I've only seen a few of his videos. Apparently he once wished death upon someone who was making drama videos about him. Did he ever apologize for that? Because if not, then he's kind of a bad person, but like I actually cannot even be bothered to research if anything became of that. I don't know if he's a pedo or not, I don't know if there's any other controversy surrounding him that I'm missing, I really just don't care very much about all that drama bullshit. I care about character design, and that's why I'm making this video. I mean, you know, in addition to the fact that this is a relevant topic soaked in drama, so it might actually have a chance of giving me a decent amount of views, you know how it is on this bitch of a website. I personally hold that if you're going to criticize someone, you need that criticism to be valid. I know that sounds stupidly obvious, but there are actually a lot of people who don't care whether or not their criticism is valid. For example, I think you're being deliberately ignorant if you're criticizing digibro for being a screeching man-child, because I find it extremely hard to believe that his man-child screeching was anything other than a facetious act. Like, guys, I get it, I know how much everyone loves to point and laugh at the screaming idiot, but you should at least try to find someone whose screams are earnest. This is pretty much on the level of taking satire at face value. I do think he still probably overreacted a bit even when taking into account the fact that his reaction was exaggerated, but still. Don't criticize him by pretending his dumb, over-the-top way of presenting his opinion was an accurate portrayal of his normal demeanor. Criticize him for that underlying opinion, or criticize him for whatever the hell else he may have done. If all you're gonna do is make fun of him for this particular thing, you're accomplishing nothing beyond making it readily apparent to everyone around you that you care more about mocking someone than bothering to find out if your mockery is even justified. Anyway, on to the actual opinion you should be focusing on. So, digibro doesn't like the fact that Jojo won Best Character Design. Well, that, and he also thinks Part 5 in general looks ugly, but I'm not here to talk about that particular facet of this. For the record, I don't really see much wrong with it, but I'm not an animation critic, so I don't know. Anyway, Digi's take has been met with a lot of backlash because there are a lot of people who love Jojo. I personally enjoy the show quite a bit myself, and I think it does some incredible things, such as normalizing an alternative form of masculinity where men can feel free to dress however the hell they want regardless of how gay it looks. But I wouldn't exactly call it a masterpiece. I actually do love the character designs, but I also wouldn't exactly call them good by conventional standards. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this relatively quick compared to my usual videos, so pay attention. You might have heard some of this before, but I gotta get everyone up to speed real fast. Opinions are subjective, and whether or not something can be considered best is also incredibly subjective. There are a million different ways you can measure how good something is. For example, Kingdom Hearts has the best character designs of all time. If your definition says that the number of superfluous belts on a human body is directly proportional to how good the design is. But most people don't judge designs based on that metric. There are a number of different ways people actually tend to judge designs, but I think one way that most can agree has historically been common is as follows. How well does this design convey the essence of this character? It's all about how much information the viewer can obtain just by looking at them. As an example, I'm gonna use Reg from Made in Abyss, because I think he's a pretty solid design, and also because I love Reg. I love him very much. I am so proud of my son. Look at him. Even if you've never seen the anime or read the manga, I think you can get a decent idea of who he is just by looking at him. He's tiny and cute, but with big metal hands and feet, showing that he's a vulnerable child, but that he still has the ability to fight if he can learn how to apply himself properly. His bare torso amplifies the vulnerability, showing that he's fully exposed to the hazardous world around him. His cape is reminiscent of something a traveler would wear, and it's ragged, most likely torn from the dangerous environment he came from. The design of his pants, the markings on his skin, and the metal ring around his neck look strange, like he came from somewhere totally alien to anything the other characters or the audience are used to. Even his skin tone helps to convey he's from somewhere different, because every other character's skin is significantly lighter than his. His helmet is large and seems somewhat ill-fitting, showing that maybe he's getting into something he might not be ready to handle yet. See how much information was conveyed to us simply through his character design? Now let's see what we can get from applying the same standards to Giorno Giovanna. So let's see here. Now immediately you've got to think, wow, this person must be confident as hell to walk around dressed like that. Whole lot of pink. This is clearly someone who wants to stand out in a crowd. Except he's in a gang and knows he can be ambushed at any time by someone out to get him, so standing out this much might not necessarily be the best idea. Well, let's see, what else? He's got a heart-shaped peck window, so he's probably the romantic type, right? Maybe he likes to swoon people on the regular, even though that's not really a thing that he does. Maybe he just wants to show his heart to the world, since he wants to make it a better place and all. Like, I guess that works, though it does feel like a slight stretch. His hair is absolutely fabulous. No one in their right mind would ever spend the amount of time and upkeep it would require to maintain a hairstyle like that unless they were at least a fair bit vain. They would have to be pretty obsessed with their appearance. But I don't think he's really that obsessed with his appearance. He's got wings on his collar, which could symbolize his desire to rise up through the ranks, I guess? Also, he's gay, right? Like he's fucking gay as hell, right? Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing here if you ain't gay? Also, ladybugs. Dude likes his ladybugs. I mean, his stand gives life to things, so I guess it thematically makes sense that he'd have some sort of life form design on him, and I guess he decided to go with ladybugs. Nice. So, yeah. It could be better, but at least there's some stuff about his design that makes so. What in the holy goddamn hell? Why do you have a crop top sweater and a weird cap thing and tiger print jeans? What the fuck? Why is your tank top vacuum sealed to your abs? What in God's name is your deal? Why do you got... Why you got holes? Why do you got holes? Okay, like, I guess you could draw a couple of things from this. Like, Fugo's stand is a disease, so I guess the holes are supposed to show how it eats through people. Bucciarati's got... he's got zippers. In case it's not obvious by now, Jojo Part 5's character designs don't really do the greatest job at conveying information about its characters. Interestingly enough, the series actually pretty much nailed this in the past. Watch Super Eye Patch Wolf's video on good character design to see how well Jotaro lived up to it. Giorno and the gang, not so much. It's almost as if Araki was just sort of like, you know what, I've already done conventionally sensible character designs. I'm gonna do something different. When I first saw these creatures before watching the anime, I had absolutely no goddamn idea what any of their deals were. Because of this, it fails to live up to that particular philosophy of good character design, and I'm guessing that's at least partially why Digi took issue with it winning the award. If you're judging character designs based on that, then he's absolutely right to think that it's absurd Jojo won. But like I said earlier, there are other standards with which you can judge things. Some might choose to place high value on factors such as, for example, originality, memorability, how much the designs stand out, and if you're going by those particular metrics, then Part 5 absolutely excels in its character design. Listen, I like weird things. I watch weird shows, play weird games, have weird friends, and I'm overall a pretty weird person. I celebrate diversities of ideas and designs. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one of the most unique and out there pieces of popular media I've ever seen, and I love it for that. Applying traditional standards of critique to it feels almost pointless due to how incredibly untraditional it is. I don't even bother trying to judge it based on how good it is at storytelling or character development or anything else that most good stories are supposed to do well, because it doesn't feel like any of that stuff even matters to it. It throws previously accepted measurements of quality out the window and instead chooses to excel on the things it knows only it can do. People don't watch it to see sensible character designs or nuanced narratives. They watch it because they want to see a bunch of ripped twinks get into bizarre and incomprehensible scenarios while repeatedly whispering the phrase, "Why's he got holes?" to their friends watching it with them. Criticizing JoJo's character designs for failing to live up to conventional standards is like criticizing Titanfall 2's gameplay for not being accessible enough to casual players. It's like, shut the fuck up, who cares? Are you seeing this shit? Are you seeing this shit? Titanfall 2 isn't trying to be accessible to every type of player, and JoJo Part 5 isn't trying to have sensible character designs. It's doing something entirely different, and it's a hell of a something. You can't really find designs quite like this anywhere else, and I think that should be celebrated. They may not be good by conventional standards, and they may also in fact be some of the stupidest looking shit you'll ever see, but sometimes, stupidity is beautiful in its own unique way. Now that said, this still doesn't mean Jojo has the best character design. That's just, it's so impossible to try and rank it. It's really great at its untraditional character design philosophy, but there's a ton of other shows that are equally good at their traditional character design philosophies. So I honestly have no idea how you'd even choose one over the other when naming one as the best. Personally, I don't really care. If digibro or someone else wants to make a video explaining why Jojo shouldn't have won, or why it's good that it did, be my guest. I just wanted to pop in and try to add some slight nuance to this whole mess, because I felt like there was some stuff to be said that I didn't see anyone else saying. That's about all I've got to offer here though, so I'll see you around. Consider checking out the rest of my channel if this is your first time hearing my voice. Bye bye.